Yep. Da-da-dum. Dum-dum-dum. Da-dum-dum. Dum-dum. Da-dum-dum.
So here you can see I'm straight leg deadlifting, and this is my overreaching week. I actually managed to do 5 sets of straight leg deadlifts this day. That isn't typical for me, but because I've been changing my form and essentially changing it in a way that's making it more stimulating and less fatiguing, I'm finding that I'm able to do some more productive sets. And this may change as I can get better at lifting this way and I get stronger, so the stimulus to fatigue ratio is still good, but the fatigue builds up due to the strength. But at the moment I was getting an excellent stimulus from this, and the biggest thing that I changed, and hopefully you'll see in some of these videos, is that I am arching my lower back and not letting my lower back round at all. You will see some people straight leg deadlifting and you will see there is rounding in the upper but also lower back, and that is more so making the straight leg deadlift more similar to a conventional deadlift and certainly putting more strain upon the lower back than necessarily other muscle groups. And I'm using the straight leg deadlift, and whenever I hip hinge, to primarily build the glutes and hamstrings, and so I'm putting a big emphasis on those areas, and yeah, hopefully that makes my hamstrings and glutes grow like nothing else. So on this lift, I'm really prioritizing pushing my hips back, keeping my chest high, keeping my hips locked in and high, not letting them come down or come forward, not letting my knees come forward, keeping them back, just pushing back, keeping the knees soft, and really controlling those eccentrics, just touching the ground, no bouncing. So I just finished my AM session where I did my straight leg deadlifts, which you would have seen. I also did standing leg, single leg cable curls, which are boring, so you don't really want to see those, and I've put those up in a vlog before. And then I finished off with cable calves, which felt really good. And I just thought I'd share this with you guys because these vlogs are where I just speak my mind, I'm 100% honest. On my calf work, I can deal with a lot of volume, and on that last set there, I basically had 2 more sets. I did my final second last set, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna rest like 3 breaths and just do as many reps as I can to finish this off. And then I finished that and I was like I'm really selling myself short here on a muscle group that I really need to grow. And I recently posted on my Instagram basically stating, and this is supported, it's actually, I got it, the reference from Brad's book, which is really awesome, by the way. I know I've also vlogged that, where the muscle group that you start your session with is gonna get the most focus, the most energy, and therefore can grow better than if you did at the end. And I quite often tag calves at the end of an AM workout or at the end of a PM workout, and I need to start placing them higher up because I'm getting some nice compliments on my physique, followed by, but you need to work on your calves. And I know I do. A lot of that is unfortunately genetic, but I don't want to blame that. I don't want to blame high insertions. I want to give my calves like a good go. So I don't want to do stuff like myro repping just because it saves time. I don't think that's the most effective way to get my training done all the time. So I mean, I do it very rarely, and I'm being very harsh on myself. But when I'm trying to be my absolute best, I've got to be very honest with myself. So next mesocycle, I'm certainly going to put some calf work early on within sessions, because in all honesty, unless you've got kind of killer calves, it's not really going to take away from the rest of the session too much. On leg days, it might not be ideal. They may get involved somewhat within your quad and hamstring work, so maybe better off putting it in your PM session or
at the start of like a lower upper body day, which is something that I'm certainly going to consider. And to be honest, calves, a lot of you probably watching this don't give a shit about your calves. The judges also don't really care that much, so I don't think calves are going to be, generally aren't going to be the difference between winning and losing a show or coming first and second, but it could do. If you have pretty much identical physiques, but one person's got better calves, they're probably going to get the win. So I don't want to leave that to chance. So why not try and get bigger calves, and yeah, then I can wear shorts and not feel self-conscious about my little calves.
2 hours later.
I'm currently just sat waiting to feel something so that I feel prepared for my PM session. I have got belt squats, split squats, and then some cable crunches. So it's not even that much today compared to my first lower body session of the week, which is higher volume. But saying that, I do have 5, 6, 7, at least 7 sets of quad work that I'll be doing today. I'll probably push that up to 8 sets because my quads have been easily recovered on time and I expect performance will be good. But yeah, I'm just finding that especially later in the mesocycles, the PM sessions get a little bit more challenging to be motivated and ready to do. And the good thing is, don't need to rely on motivation anymore because it's just a habit. And I know I'm going to get it done. There's no question in my mind. I just need to start. So I'm going to start.
Yes, you're right, you can see Ada jumping on my back at the start and barking at me a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, it did put me off the set a little bit, but I managed to get through it and stay focused throughout the entire set. So some things a few people have mentioned during the time I've uploaded this to Instagram, and they're a little bit unsure about kind of this movement, is because I look like my positioning is quite like low bar and I'm getting a lot of hip activation. But essentially, if you just remove my torso, it looks very quad dominant, and I can tell you from doing this movement, it's highly quad dominant. You have to look at where the load is and where my knees are traveling. The load's coming through the lower back. And also the fact is my lower back's rounding a little bit. Again, I'm not loading the spine, so the lower back doesn't really kind of come into it in terms of the rounding there. So I'm not worried about the safety risk on this movement, but these get you some sort of quad pump like nothing else. And I love that they're not axial loading. They're a bit awkward, but actually a really good movement that I've enjoyed during this lockdown period.
So a new movement for this mesocycle, and one I've never shown you before, and actually new movement for the mesocycle, I've also never done it before this, is a landmine split squat. The reason for this is you can load it more than using Bulgarian split squats, and I only have a certain amount of weight. But more importantly was it removes a kind of balance component. It still has some balance involved, but because the landmine's more stable than using, say, a dumbbell or something like that, or using the barbell on your back, you can have that extra stability. I think can allow you to drive more force through the leg that you're trying to drive force through.
So you can see it set up here. So I have the landmine, which is like one that you can put in bumper plates or thicker plates, just goes in the hole of there. Then I've got my barbell through it. Then here, it's an elevated, front foot elevated split squat. I want the elevation so I can get a bit more range of motion, and I'm using the Corrupt Fitness little squat wedge, solo wedge here, so that I can get a more forward knee travel to emphasize the quads.
So I actually ended up not doing an extra set for my quads. Whilst I was recovered between sessions, and therefore performance was good as well, and things were indicating that I could do more volume there. You know, when you're just in a workout and you're doing it, and I got to 5 sets of my belt squats, and I knew after I couldn't do a 6th set. it wouldn't have gone well. 5 sets for a lot of exercises seems to be the upper end of kind of where it just starts getting stale. You still have room for more volume through that muscle, but it's just getting stale. And then, to be honest, the split squats are great. I think they're a good movement, but there's something about them that is just, within the session, very, very fatiguing. I don't think they're a highly fatiguing movement. I think the SFR generally should be quite good, but there's something about them within the workout that just knackers me cardiovascularly, and just like physically I just don't feel like I can like keep giving them more. So I'm not sure really how good of a movement they are for me, but I did 2 sets and I was just like, if I tried to do another set, you know, when you think, oh, I could do another set, I've only done 2, but I just knew that next set I just mentally wouldn't be there, it wouldn't have been a good set. So I just maintained sets on last week, but I beat performance via repetitions or load on both movements. So yeah, that was my leg. You got to see the main movements that I did today, legs, overreaching. I'm very much looking forward to some easier training next week, to be honest. Yeah, it's well deserved, I tell you that much.